Hey guys, Nolen and Jason here with Roofing Webmasters.
Howdy.
So today's title is Nobody Cares About Your 2024 Roofing SEO Effort, Including Google. And this is
Sounds harsh.
This is a riff on an article I saw. I think it was a People article. There was a guy that had spent 3 years building his own website.
3 years.
3 years. And every time he did, and it said it in the article, every time he did something like get a button to work or something, he would celebrate and tell everybody. And his wife had to listen to it for several years. And then evidently an employee that worked for the guy, so just after hearing it for a long time, said, nobody cares. So the wife, I'm assuming the guy's older, like he's this 40-year-old, I don't know how old he is. And then this kid at the office is like, nobody cares about, like.
Nobody cares, Harold.
Nobody cares. So the wife laughed and, like, dying laughing, makes a cake that said nobody cares to celebrate the milestone of the 3-year web effort, website being completed, I guess.
Worked on or completed.
Whatever happened.
Yeah.
So I guess, we run into this here. If people will work on all kinds of things on their website. And I've had somebody, I'll give you a story about it, and I'll make the point of this podcast will be about why do you care what Google thinks, and how do you get Google to care?
Right.
And how do you get your roofing business up in ranking? But people will spend a lot of time. I had a guy about 2 weeks ago, and I said, hey, blogging is probably not a good thing to do anymore. 99% of it that a roofer could blog about is still trash content.
Yeah.
And people have gone overboard because they can go into ChatGPT and begin to blog, and they'll do like 1 a day, 5 a day.
Yeah.
And then their website will quickly become, a poor user experience. And Google looks at it and is like, whoa, if we send somebody here, we've got 5 good pages of content and 500 trash pages of content that they wrote.
And at that point, they won't bother with your 5 good pages anymore. They'll just ignore them.
So the guy wanted to be involved and build stuff, but he was a writer. And I said, we probably shouldn't do that. I think this guy has blog access, right? This is a recent sale.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't think, if I thought that it was going to kill the hell out of it, we'd talk to him. If he put too much in, we'd tell him. I always tell people we'll tell him. But I warned him like 5 times not to do it. But he wants to work on it. When people will begin to look at stuff and feel like they've created life, or,
yeah,
like, look what I created.
Look what I did. When you roll your mouse over it, it lights up.
Yeah, it's like, it's like a kid, wanting to impress their parent or something. And the parent is impressed and happy that the kid jumped and clicked their heels together at 3 years old, but nobody else really cares, know. Google doesn't really care that you made the button work, and doesn't give you creds for doing it. It's like,
at all.
Wow.
They give no shits.
Harold, that was, wow. Wow. We've watched
that was just a name I pulled out, not the name of a real person.
We've watched you come from this to this, and the button is shiny, and it works now. So we're going to pull you up in ranking, man.
No,
doesn't happen. Does not work that way. But a lot of people do this. Now, if somebody can help out with their marketing technique, they should. So this is where I say somebody could help out. They could get a link from their local civic organization or the BBB or chamber or something like church or something. And that might help. They can get reviews and try to get more reviews. They can use DataPins.
Right.
And they can do all kinds of things that would help. But then they'll get involved in the design, the code, the content, and setting it up on Google and all that. And they'll mess up all of that stuff horribly. I have people call up and go, can you work on and nowadays we might even begin to say yes on something. Can you work on a Duda site? I have this GoDaddy site. I have a subdomain on Wix or a Google business site.
Right.
It's like, okay, so you've taken the cheapest sites known to man and put them up there, and what do you want it to do with it? Well, I'd like it. I said, and they'll say, what? I said, do you want it to dominate Google? And they're like, yeah, so you want the cheapest effort known to man to dominate on Google because you already have it up. They're like, yeah. I was like, well, do you think it'll work? And they'll be like, well, I said,
We'll add the Wix advertisement, say it's SEO ready.
Right. I said,
like,
this
yeah.
this isn't what they love. This isn't the best thing to use. So this is the better way to do it. So, but people want to do that. So I guess when, if we had somebody recently that was frankly, that was a great client for years, decide to want to work on their own website.
Yeah.
I'll tell you all this story because we will never mention a client's name or anything. It wasn't even in the roofing category, frankly.
Yeah.
So this client was, I'll say the category, I think, because it wasn't even a roofer. This client was in, and this is because it's a trade hazard in this category.
Yeah.
We work with a lot of roofers, plumbers, and HVAC. I've never, tried to lie about that. We just have some specialty categories. We love roofers, plumbers, and HVAC. This was an HVAC company, and HVAC tends to, it's a trade hazard that the owners freak out, and rightfully so, in fall and spring.
When the weather goes mild. And
the weather goes mild. This guy had moved from...
You see it sometimes in roofers in some areas
as
you approach winter.
It's a horrible thing to do to kill a marketing effort and not plan for winter, whatever. Roofers are a little different because it's when, it freezes. But, when it's nice outside, they're still in October, but an HVAC company will go broke. If they bought too many trucks or don't lay people off, they can have a rough season.
Bought a boat,
or if they, they just didn't the mild year, Mother Nature and acts of God and stuff can affect all the contractors really. But anyway, been with us for years and had a bad year and canceled. And the tragedy of the whole thing is, in his head, and this is stuff you do not want to do, in his head had started to villainize proper web work. And y'all can say that this happens all the time. And it is crazy that it happens. But you've got to keep your head screwed on straight the long haul when it comes to marketing. But the site that went up over the site that we had and lost DataPins and all this other stuff was horrendous.
And he was active on DataPins. He used it.
And the site, and y'all could say no one would do that. I'm like, guys, people do bad business decisions, make bad business decisions all the time.
Yeah.
And when it comes to marketing, the good news is there's hardly anyone that keeps their head screwed on straight long haul. Almost no one. So when you're talking about doing stuff, it's fine to do some things. But when there's professional services that are needed so that the digital branded signaling and stuff that comes from your branded effort gets put to Google the right way and the public, you don't play around with that,
Right.
So this beautiful site went down with pins and all this activity and went to this horrific template. And it was because he wanted to have that site. He
wanted control.
He wanted to be the only one working on that site.
Yeah.
He didn't want anybody else working on it, wanted to make changes to it. And he got that. And now we won't, this is not a client anymore, but we'll have this, the client for years. We did absolutely nothing wrong, just hit fall. And the business for the HVAC company went straight down. I don't normally, roofers are usually fine unless they're above a certain line in the U.S. And then it can snow. And
it's a weird kind of thing because the roofers that are way up north,
like Wisconsin,
they know,
Michigan,
and they just basically hibernate for 3 months or however long. But
they'll leave. They'll leave sometimes. Yeah.
But there's an area where maybe winter comes early and they might panic.
Yeah, we literally on this topic, it's a little off, but we won't sign up as many people in like Michigan,
right,
or Wisconsin, or name the cold state. There's opportunity in those states for anybody wanting to get going because they won't sign up for anything.
Right. Not that we don't like them, but they don't call.
They don't call because their season is like 6 to 7 months.
Yeah.
And we can't stop services for the off months for a roofer.
SEO cannot be paused.
Yeah, not good SEO because we have a crew that works on it regularly. So you don't pause it. But anyway, so the guy put up sites, if y'all have the ability to run analytics on it or Google Analytics, which not ours anymore, but it'll be down it'll probably drop 40% before the season starts up.
Yeah.
It was a horrible website that went up. So
I looked at it. It'll drop 40% in 90 days.
yeah. Nolen Walker here for DataPins. You may not know, but I own a software company, and we have a proprietary software called DataPins, DATAPINS. You can search it at datapins.com. This is not white labeled. I actually own this piece of software, and I made it for you. It was made for contractors. You can actually take pictures of jobs, up to 6, make a caption about the material, the brand, the situation, the repairs, and post that back to your individual pages on your website, just like that. It's super simple. Anyone could use it. It also texts and emails your clients, direct links to your reviews, so it helps reputation and reviews, which helps conversion and map placement. The geo coordinate gets grabbed by DataPins, and Google can tell where you are. So instead of them just seeing reviews, they see all jobs or even estimates that you do. This vastly outperforms just getting reviews. Helps the map show up, helps organic keywords. And remember, those captions that you're putting in there help expand the keywords per page, and it's great regular content. I love it. We made it just for you. It is organic optimization on steroids for both your website, your rankings, and the map placement. Check out DataPins. I think you'll be happy you did. You want to be careful about the things that you boast about that you're doing on the site. And if somebody can do those things better, and it's the lifeblood, like Google or like your online search, that is where most of your best leads and most leads will come from if you get up in ranking. That stuff you got to be careful about. Handle that, get good quality services for that. Use things like DataPins. We've got now field360.ai. You can check that out. That .ai is the extension for the URL. And we can help you with your website design, code content, DataPins, and signals to Google, and then make sure the base of everything is high quality. You certainly don't want to be messing around with a site. In fact, the site that the guy that we were talking about had broken pages and placeholder template pages.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a template.
Yeah.
It's like place text here.
Yeah.
And that was getting spidered. And the guy was this is a common thread. So say, well, I'm an SEO expert. I've done SEO. So the guy was a self-proclaimed SEO expert and claimed he'd done it before, but had a lot of pages within the site that were waiting to hold text. Google sees this and body slams the site. So it was extremely poor user experience. Now, they weren't navigatable, but they were spiderable.
Yeah.
So that means that you couldn't find them in the tab structure. You couldn't click on them, but they were sitting in the directory.
But Google could still see them.
Yeah. Google had to actually seen them, cache them, copy them. And then when that happens, the site gets pulled.
Yeah.
So basics have to be done. They have to be done well. The thing about the story that they ran on People magazine about the guy that owned and it was a print shop. The only accolade, the only consolation I'll give is, shit, it's a print shop and it's 2023, so there's not a lot of competition for him.
Yeah.
Having said that, he probably in this category, if you're a roofer, you got to fight for ranking. You call guys like us to get you up in ranking.
Right.
You're a print shop. Yes, you put up a pretty cheap website.
I don't know where you'd have to go as a roofer to have no competition.
I don't know.
If you went somewhere where there was no competition, there would be no roofs. So it would be self-defeating.
You can go into smaller markets and you will get a bigger piece of a smaller pie.
Yeah.
I don't think overall I like the idea of living out in the country, although I'm cityfied enough to not be able to do it anymore.
Yeah.
But I would, if I was going to make money, which most of these guys just want to make money, you don't live too far away from a big city.
Right.
You just don't. Now, if you're going to live out your home and get 100 acres, and I just talked to a guy that was on the backside of Colorado, roofer. He'd moved from Austin to Colorado Springs, and it was, I'm sorry, he was half an hour from Colorado Springs, down south. Okay. So there was not a lot there, but mountain ranges and a town here and there. And so it was where he's moving to, but it's definitely going to be less traffic there.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. When we get a site, you can get less rankings up and get 10 times, 20 times the amount of phone call volume and clicks than you can. Obviously, there's no one around. Now, if you're in a small market, we can help with that. You've got to have a lot of city pages.
Yeah.
So
you probably have to drive further.
Yeah, you have
if you're in a big city, you probably don't have to drive more than 40 minutes away from your office or house. If you're in a rural market, you probably got to drive 2 hours.
And the maps will sometimes reflect that. Sometimes, not all the times. When Google have a larger map area because there actually are less roofers. There's roofers there. There's just less roofers.
Yeah.
So you can, if you have a smaller, dense area, you're going to have some city pages, and we'll do services depending on what type of roofing. But yeah, this guy was a lot of commercial too, which was an odd. So we would have had even more city pages on this particular one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think we have one going up that went into Connecticut. I looked up Connecticut just the other day on guys. If this is stuff that nobody does for y'all too, like for one thing, if you're in the Northeast, guys, it's easy to cross the state line, but Google wants to show local, so we have to pretty much go for Connecticut.
Right.
I looked up the cities counts. On the 25th largest city in Connecticut, only had 1,500 people in it.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Connecticut's weird because it's right next to New York. And so you tend to think of it as like the dense, and it's between New York and Boston basically. And so you think of it as this densely packed Northeast, but Connecticut is mostly rural.
So it was 3.5 million people or something like that.
Yeah.
And we are going to put in 25 city pages, but 25 city pages encompass pretty much the whole state.
Yeah.
So he was able to get the whole state, but we went after 25 city pages as well. So anyway, if you're going to be working on stuff, do what you can do and then get quality services for the rest of it. It is not worth it. The guy that did the print shop that did this, that was a story I read, hurt his business.
Yeah. I'm sure he was very proud of himself, but he didn't do himself any favors.
When the button was broken, they didn't say much in the story, but he got the button working, but Google can tell the button's broken. Google can tell the other stuff is broken. It literally will affect your map ranking. People will go, all I need is map ranking. Nolen, make it happen. I've got this shit website for 2 pages and it's busted up. And then they'll say, do I need a new website? I'm like, do you want your map ranking? Well, those things aren't separate. This is part of your digital branded effort.
Right.
And they will be able to tell that if somebody lands on your map that they're going to have a poor user experience inside the website. So it is all tied together. You've got to have quality work, quality setup. We help you with all of that. We help you with design code content, proper setup. We help you with a lot of content. We're very, very careful on content.
Very.
You do not want this stuff slapped up by somebody claiming they can get on with ChatGPT like anybody can. You want it done and curated and tagged for your city and done well. And currently, today, we're still not using ChatGPT for content.
Yeah, as of now, Google still does not prefer it.
They're twitchy.
Yeah.
And I'll say they're twitchy, and I'll say that, and we've seen people penalized. And I will say that people that are flagrantly or boastfully using ChatGPT are slamming in so much content that it will create a poor user experience.
Right.
Even if the guy writes the blogs well, it's a poor user experience because nobody wants to read blogs on a roofing website for the most part.
If you're blogging on a roofing website, people have been blogging on roofing websites for over a decade now. You're not unless you have invented a new roofing material yourself, you're not saying anything new. You're just repeating the same trash that's already out there 10,000 other times, and there's no point.
And arguably somebody's going to your roofing website. Well, Google's placing you because local people are looking for a roofing company.
Right.
They're not going to you because you're the wiki source on roofing.
Right.
So that's not the purpose of the site. The purpose of the site is to show a great local roofer. And if they have a page about the material, that's a good thing. If you want to show up for TPO or tile roof, you need a page. Otherwise, your map won't even show up well. But all that ties in well. And then they're able to say, hey, this is a good place to show somebody. But if you start putting up extraneous content about this and that, you're kind of like a wiki page. And it's not the intent of Google or the user.
Top 10 reasons you should replace your roof this year. Yeah, worthless.
It's worthless and will probably equal penalty. Since ChatGPT and AI content's come out, there's a lot of people just boasting about this, and it'll turn. I think people eventually. You still need content. You just need proper content. DataPins is proper digital signaling. Nolen Walker here for Roofing Webmasters. I want you to consider becoming one of our clients. We've done this for 12 years, have hundreds of clients. We help everybody with their design, their code, their content, showing up on Google as high as possible. Clients get regular call volume. If you've never experienced what I call the big show, showing up on Google organically, which is where the vast majority of the clicks occur, on your map, your reputation, your reviews, your organic keyword ranking, you owe it to yourself to try us. We even have proprietary software that we own called DataPins that lets you post pictures of jobs, unique captions that increase keywords and long tail keywords, your rankings on Google, text and emailing clients about reviews, even posting pins and photos and captions back to Google. All this helps your organic rankings. DataPins is fantastic, and the work we do here at Roofing Webmasters is fantastic. Please give us a call. We'd love to hear from you.
Keep in mind that the biggest algorithmic change that Google's been working on and has been rolling out for the past year and a half is called the helpful content update.
Yeah.
And they've literally, they first started rolling it a year and a half ago, and they keep adding to that, rolling out more of it.
Is it helpful content?
Yeah, helpful content update. And that is that's what they're focused on.
I think eventually, personally, they're going to be able to have AI content, but will it be helpful content?
Yeah, that's the thing. They're going to evaluate it, not whether it's human created or AI. They're going to evaluate it on whether it's helpful.
Yeah, so when somebody says, oh, we'll do this, and we're going to be thousands per month, and we're going to add 5 blogs a week, and it's like, no, just some jackass in their office going to use ChatGPT and overbloat your site, and you're going to get a penalty.
Give me 800 words on so-and-so subject.
Why isn't this working? It's because it's not helpful content. It's not creating a good user experience. DataPins will embellish a page about a material or a service, like to talk about tile roofing, and then expand it with Brava Barrel tile roof, a job that you did. Now you might optimize for Brava Barrel tile roofs, but it signals it with a GPS coordinate, shows photos, shows a caption from a technical perspective that coincides with local search on a relative entity page, and that's a proper user experience. And proper content and proper branded digital signaling.
Right.
So that's like perfection. That's what people want.
That's what DataPins is. It's the thing that ties everything together.
Well, guys, like and subscribe. If you have questions, let me know. If you're playing around because you have a hobby, it's time to give up the hobby on the web work stuff, probably. Mostly, right? Mostly.
Your hobby site should be about your hobby, not your business.
Yeah. I have we have clients lose their GBPs all the time, their Google Business Profile maps, because they're jacking around in their keyword stuff and it changing the company names. You know, all that stuff.
We're working on about 3 of those right now.
Yeah, the client that we had that had a change up in partnership and hasn't gone live.
Yeah.
They did a Google Business Profile name change on their map, and it's suspended now. But it looks keyword stuff, but it was a new entity name.
Gotcha.
But it went from a non-relevant name to the industry to the actual words inside of it with the LSI. And now it's suspended.
They're twitchy.
And
every change on GBP these days is fraught with danger.
Any map change you make is scary.
Anything.
If you become a client, please call us and don't make your own map change. Have us facilitate or at least ask us
One of the first things Angela says to people when she gets access to their GBP, once she's in there, she goes, please make no changes to this without checking with me first.
So all that, we're not trying to control stuff. We're just, if changes are made so this guy's next thing was, well, we'll just start a new GBP. I'm like, no. But and you said, why?
Worse.
Because the names are so similar, they'll penalize the new one and leave the old one up. He said, I can't cancel it. I said, unfortunately, no. You can say it's closed. That's up to them whether they take down the GBP. They typically don't.
They might mark it closed, but it'll still exist.
It'll exist, and then the other one won't. It might take months or years for the other one to take dominance over the original one.
Yeah.
And now you have 2 names in the same market, exact same town. It's a death blow potentially.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I can't tell you exactly because it changes, but these are the reasons you have help.
Yeah.
You know,
and if you do this stuff, if you mess around with it and you do get suspensions, as soon as you have a suspension, they're more suspicious of everything you do. They're asking for photos of outdoor signage, video verification of your location, business license,
corporate documentation,
bills. They're asking for all kind of stuff to verify that you're not trying to be shady.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do with that guy in California that has a different business name on the different corporate documentation, and his GBP will not get approved.
Yeah.
So
we've been rejected like twice, I think.
Yeah, it's been like, we're approaching 2 months with a client, changed the name.
Oh, that one. Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Changed the name, but did not do it on the corporate documentation, put it on the GBP. And these are just little nuanced things we do. Forget about buttons on websites and 404 errors and broken stuff and like content placeholders. I mean, those are all
things we could fix fast.
Those are all things that are like complete death blows to the brand.
Yeah.
Like Google's like, there's no way in hell we're showing this Mickey Mouse show up high.
Yeah.
No way. And so once all that high quality base content stuff and base activities get done, then you one up it with DataPins and other things. And then you protect it. Like try not to lose the GBP or have your Google Maps suspended and all that kind of stuff. But those are like, there's hordes of little details that we do.
Yeah.
I know it sounds like we're pontificating about this crud to like say, don't do your own, let us do it. But it's not like we're not, it's the equivalent of somebody coming out. I love these industry relevant analogies. So somebody comes out and says, man, I've got all these cardboard boxes broke down from Christmas. I was going to buy shingles from Home Depot, the Certainty with the Tedlar strip in it that is, can't tear and last 40 years. But I figured
I'll just use the cardboard.
I got my teenagers, they cut up cardboard into shingle shapes.
We cut it into shapes, we spray painted it black. Looks exactly the same.
Put a little lacquer on it.
That'll work, right?
Just make it happen. Yeah. So if we say it out loud, people judge us. If we say this out loud,
hey, don't mess with
this. Don't make your own website. Well, they just want to stop people from making their own websites. Like I feel that from people,
Yeah.
But if somebody went and did it to you in your own business and said, well, no, man, I mean, we've got that black soil here, kind of muddy clay. I was watching a YouTube video about a guy that built a house in the rainforest and he got grass and mud and built a damn house. So that's what I want you to do. Nobody ever does
all my materials are in that field right there. Yeah. Dig them up.
We're going to use fieldstone, hay, and mud. And like nobody ever live
like our ancestors.
Nobody ever does that to a roofer. They never do it to a plumber.
Yeah.
They never do it to HVAC ever. But if we say, hey, bad websites are bad, if you go get like the cruddiest website known to man and some person who knows literally nothing about how to produce a web effort begins to produce it and we judge them.
Yeah.
Or we say something.
We're the bad guy.
We're the bad guy trying to hold you down. And it has nothing to do with it. Yeah. It's just Google judging you. And there actually are skill sets to it. And it is a roof made with mud and hay that's going to leak on the first rain. That doesn't optimize,
Yeah.
And people look at it and like judge it differently. And I have no idea why. It's like the algorithm can literally read the code, read the content, read the effort, read the user interface, read the speed, read everything about it. And someone thinks they're going to go produce one and trick the algorithm into thinking that they're brilliant. But they've tricked themselves into thinking they're brilliant. But then Google doesn't agree with them.
Yeah.
Google's like, hey, bro, this is bad stuff. And then people call up and go, why doesn't my website stuff work? It's like, because you had a guy do it for $89 that eats ramen, lives under a bridge in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah. That's the theme today.
It's a different one.
That's a different podcast.
Different podcast. All right, guys, call us when you're ready. We are so stinking good at working with this stuff and understand the category. We have tools and software company on the side. I'm very proud of datapins.com, field360.ai. That is the URL extension if you want to check it out. We would so love to be of service. And we'll be nice about it. Texas straightforward, Texas respectful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely nice. Fight like mad to get you up in ranking, keep the money. We're month to month, have been for 15 years.
Forever, yeah.
Forever. I'm not promising it'll always be that way, but it has been. It has been that way. which means we have to produce. People stay with us because they want to. We have hundreds of happy clients. We'd like to make you one of them. We'll wrap it up.
Take it easy.